व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Mataji has not yet joined. Purnanandini Mataji will be joining. She will be the speaker today. Anybody would like to continue the kirtan? Hare Krishna Mataji's or Prabhuji's?
Can I do Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Mata.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji has joined. Hare Krishna Mataji. Welcome, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Over to you, Mataji. Dandat pranams to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcoming all of you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Yeah, it's a special day because a lot of us have met in person. Krishnamurti Prabhu and his wife, then Divya Desa Mataji, Meenakshi Mataji, and many others. And it's, I mean, I would look forward to meeting all of you also, because I think there are going to be more yatras. So it'd be really nice to meet in person. Okay. So on that note, we'll start today. So we are on chapter 12 of 4th canto, and we are going to do shlokas from 34 to 37, right? Okay. So quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nishtaprayesho Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yetkripātam aham vande Shri Gurum Dīnatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Namo Vishnu Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, is anybody sharing the screen or should
Yes,
I share?
Mataji, you want us to share the screen?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
please.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody who wants to read the shloka and translation. Yes, Archana Mataji. Archana Sunil Kumar Mataji will read the shloka, and Archana Sri Radha Devi, Archana Sri Radha Devi Dasi will read the translation of 34. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, pranams Mataji. Tatra tatra prashamsadivi padi vaimanikai surai avikiryamano dadrishe avakiryamano dadrishe kusumai kramasho grahan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. While Dhruva Maharaja was passing through space, he gradually saw all the planets of the solar system. And on the path, he saw all the demigods in their airplanes showering flowers upon him like rain. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna. So here in the purport, if we see, Prabhupada starts the purport with Yasmin Vignate Sarvam Evam Vignatam Bhavati, means we know Krishna, then everything is known. So Dhruva Maharaj is going back to Godhead. Maharaj going back to Godhead is the title of this chapter. And then, he was heroes welcome. They're showering flowers. Actually, hero would maybe a misnomer, or the true hero. Otherwise, we are idealizing people on the material plane, mostly film stars, who bind us more and more, right? Or cricket stars as heroes. But actually, one is a true hero, like Srila Prabhupada, who takes us out of this perpetual birth, death, old age, and disease, right? Then, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says he gets a spiritual body. Because he has a spiritual body, he is now able to go back to Vaikuntha. Now, in the coming shlokas, we will talk a little more about this. What is it exactly to get a spiritual body, or what is it that we have to do? But in this shloka, what we can understand is, I'm quoting His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj in one of the lectures. He says, when the soul is journey going back, for any reason, if the soul thinks, oh, this is so nice, in any of the planets, maybe Swarga or in the upper planetary systems, then the soul stays there, So that is why the Guru guides him back to Godhead. It's like, the Guru is like the horse has a, I'm forgetting what it is called. It has something, covered in this. Yeah?
Blinkers, Mataji.
Blinkers, okay. So that it doesn't see here and there. So the Guru is our blinkers when the soul is ready to go back to Godhead, that we do not get distracted by any other opulence in any other in any other higher planetary system. And another most important aspect of this purport, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada says, he's glorifying Suniti as a mother. One is because she was a Pata Pradarshak Guru. I mean, she showed the path of, he said, you want whatever you want, you go and pray to the Lord is one thing. The other very important, interesting, practical thing for us to know is, Prabhupada says that she never desired that her son remained at home comfortably without undertaking austerity and penances, right? Usually as parents, more so as parents, we want our children to be very comfortable. Yeah, yes, comfortable, fine. But when there is a demand, or when there is a need, right? That is a true mother or a true parent or somebody who's in authority, that just because they have to undergo some difficulties, they have to give up something higher, right? Like very interestingly, in one of the lectures, I heard that parents are okay for children to go abroad and take all kinds of austerities, kind in the sense, we have heard if they go to US or wherever, they have to work and then it is so cold. Now that is an austerity, but that austerity is only binding the child there. But then when it comes to spiritual austerity, say, no, 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 don't take so much trouble. So, when I read this point came to my head that it is not that we don't want our children to take austerity, but we must know what is the austerity that they have to go through. Or for spiritual aspect also, if you have to go to some austerities, like he was a prince, right? But still, Mother Suniti said, go to the forest, right? And in the end of the purport, Prabhupada says, but she will also be transferred with him. That is the mother, means Suniti, with him to spiritual world, even though she may be unable to undergo austerities and penances in executing devotional service, because she showed him that path. And Dhruva Maharaj eventually saw the Lord and became pure devotee. So these two aspects about how the Guru guides the soul when it's going back to Godhead, and how as parents or anyone in authority that we have to allow our dependents, not necessarily children, if we are preaching, our dependents to go through some amount of difficulty and austerity to for a higher purpose, right? So we go to the next shloka, shloka 35. Sudha Mataji and Barnali Sen Mataji will read the shloka and translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Trilokim devayanena so ati rajya muninapi parastat yatruvakatir Vishnu padam atapyagat. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare.
Translation. Dhruva Maharaj thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as Saptarshi. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of permanent life in the planet where Lord Vishnu lives. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.
Okay, so the spiritual plane piloted by spiritual people, that is Sunanda and Nanda, Prabhupada says in the purport. Right? So, obviously, spiritual body means which is conducive to a particular planet. Right? For example, if one has to go to the sun planet, right now at the present body situation, we cannot go to the sun planet. We will just get burnt. I mean, forget going to sun planet, not even going near the sun. We will get burnt up. But if we have a body that it takes that temperature, then definitely we can go to the sun planet. Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, in one of the purports, talks about how living entities are there in all the planets, because the soul is soul never dies. And then he also talks about the various planets. There he says one has to have that kind of conducive body to be in that planet. So in the same way here, Sunanda and Nanda from the Vaikuntha planet piloting the Vaikuntha plane have that kind of body is one aspect. And Prabhupada quoting the shloka of Ha Brahma Bhuvana Loke Punaravartino Arjuna Mamupetyetu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Says if you can go up to even Brahma Loka. Brahma Bhuvana Loke Punaravartino Arjuna, you will come back. Mamupetyetu Kaunteya. Very clearly Krishna says, Mamupetya. Only if you come to my world. Punarjanmana Vidyate. Right? So even the topmost planet, Prabhupada is highlighting that even the topmost planet one goes, then one has to come back. It's only in Vaikuntha Loka one can live an eternally blissful life. Now, these two shlokas, I finished it a little quickly and briefly, because the next two shlokas has so many aspects for us to kind of learn from the next two shlokas. So take a little more time on these shloka 36 and 37, right? I have Meenakshi Mataji and Krishnamurti Prabhu who have raised their hands for reading the shloka and translation. Yeah, please go ahead. Next shloka, please. Shloka 36.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yadbrajam manam Trusaiva sarvato lokastrayo hai anyu vibharajan janta ete yannavara rajan jantusu ye nanugraha brajanti bhadrani taranti ye anisham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The self-effulgent Vaikuntha planets, by whose illumination alone all the illuminating planets within the material world give off reflected light, cannot be reached by those who are not merciful to other living entities. Only persons who constantly engage in welfare activities for other living entities can reach the Vaikuntha planets. Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So, very two important aspects of the Vaikuntha planet. And what is interesting for us is, first of all, we getting what is the conditions in Vaikuntha planet, and the next aspect is how we can go there, right? So these points I'm going to share from this shloka is some few excerpts from a lecture by His Holiness Sachidanand Maharaj, right? So here the first aspect is self-effulgent. That is, even in 15th chapter, in 6th shloka, Krishna says, Natad bhasete suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam. Natad bhasete suryo na shashanko na pavakaha. Not sun, moon, electricity. So how is it eliminated? Eliminated by the effulgence coming from the body of the Lord. And that effulgence, actually, we are bathed in that effulgence because it is coming down to the material world. That is how the sun and moon are shining from that effulgence. So that is the first aspect of the Vaikuntha Loka, or the spiritual world. The next aspect of the spiritual world is, which is very, very much relevant to us now, is to be merciful to other living entities, right? So what Maharaj was saying about this particular lecture is, he was talking about compassion, right? Now, we are all passionate, right? We're all passionate about, first of all, our own selves. All of us. First, we are very passionate about our own selves. And then that passion has to convert to compassion. From passion, we have to come to compassion. Now, Maharaj was giving one very nice example in the sense, about how how deeply we are self-centered, that we think about ourselves. Maharaj was preaching to a doctor couple in one part of Germany, and then he had invited this couple to Mayapur for some festival. And during that festival, there were some makeshift tents where all the visitors were housed. And one evening, Maharaj was having a discussion with His Holiness Banu Maharaj and His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on the Lotus building. And during the discussion, I think one of the Maharaj, he said, Banu Maharaj, suddenly, his expressions changed and there was a lot of shock on his face. And then, and he was looking at direction where the tents were there. So when they turned, they saw that these makeshift tents had caught fire, and all the visitors who were there were running out. So obviously, Sachin Maharaj was worried about the new devotees. They were neophyte devotees, right? And they had very mercifully agreed to come to Mayapur. And then obviously he was worried. So he ran down to meet them and check if they were all okay and nothing wrong and all that. And then he saw the couple come out. And it was time to retire, and that Mataji was dressed just about to kind of retire. And then the Prabhu was also there, but they ran out of the tent, realizing there was fire. So then Maharaj, took them to a place, and then a calmer place. And then after a few minutes, he said, though it was not the right time, but he wanted to know what are the three things that were going through each of their minds at this particular juncture, because it was a life and death kind of situation, right? They could have got burned, but they did not. So they were, first of all, new devotees. And then he said, really, this you want, he says, there's a purpose, kindly answer. So the lady said she was looking for her pullover because she wanted to, dress herself in a more presentable way. And then she was looking for her passport. And the third thing she said is, I was thinking, why did I come to India? Right? And these were the three things. So, and then the husband said, he was looking for his spectacles because, nothing was seen. So he was looking for his spectacles, and he was also looking for his passport. And then the third thing he said was, I was looking for, and then he also was saying, why did I come to India? Now Maharaj said, after he heard, he gave few moments, and then he said, you have been, both of you have married to each other for quite some time now. Did you not think of welfare of each other at all? He says, no, that was the last thing. I mean, like, neither of them said that they wanted to, they had their spouse in their mind to save. So this example Maharaj was giving is how we become so much engrossed in our own selves. And then he went on to say, first of all, we are engrossed in ourselves. And if we are a little more, some mercy in our heart, then we become interested or compassionate to our family members. And then if we are a little more compassionate, then we become compassionate to our fellow citizens. That means my country, But when is it actually a person really feels, compassion or person welfare activity of others? When is a person who is going to actually feel this para dukkha dukhi, right? Only when bhakti, in the process of bhakti, when a person is comes to this devotional service, is when a person feels very distressful to see the people in this material world suffering. Suffering because of various, though they are illusioned to think that they are very happy, but then actually they are suffering. So, there's a very interesting quote, shloka, which Maharaj quoted, this is 6:10:9. Okay, I will just read the translation of this quotation, that what it means to be paradukkha dukhi. If one is truly a devotee and is feeling compassionate to others, I'm reading the translation by Prabhupada of 6th canto, chapter 10, shloka 9. Translation. If one is unhappy to see the distress of other living beings, I quote, if one is unhappy to see the distress of other living beings and happy to see their happiness, his religious principles are appreciated as imperishable by exalted persons who are considered pious and benevolent. So you see, if we feel, if somebody is unhappy or is going through some distress, and then we really feel for them. See, most of the time, we are, I mean, at least I will talk from my perspective. It is very easy to feel for somebody who is going through distress. Oh, so sad. But do we feel the same joy if somebody is really successful? It can be on the material plane, it can be on the spiritual plane, on the spiritual aspect. Will we feel the same happiness if we were in that situation? Now, I mean, I hope I made my point clear. If somebody, will I feel the same
No,
happiness?
Mataji.
And
No, Mataji.
no. Okay, distress aspect, I think was clear. Now I say I happened to meet my Guru Maharaj, and I had a lot of time to spend with him, right? And I feel so happy, blissful, merciful, and all that. But if instead of me, there is some other devotee who has the same opportunity, will I feel the same happiness? Will I feel the same blissfulness that the other devotee got this opportunity, right? Did I make my point clear?
Yes, Mataji. You will not feel happy.
Okay. So, so it's a good point of introspection. If we are truly in the path of bhakti, that we'll feel happy when others are happy. Not say that, oh, I should have been there. How come that devotee is there? I'm doing so much service. I mean, on the material or the spiritual plane, right? So that is what Bhagavatam says. Bhagavatam Suma was quoting this. That means there is no aspect of enviousness, no trace of enviousness, because this enviousness is only present in the material world. We really, on the material plane also, it is very difficult to feel very happy when somebody else is very successful, right? You people vouch for this? Or is it, or am I wrong?
No, Mataji, it's very true.
Krishnamurti Prabhu, you are not heard. Yeah, thank you, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So
It's
true. Absolutely true, Mataji. Absolutely true.
happy.
Okay. So, so Maharaj was insist. Yes, Krishnamurti Prabhu, you are still unmuted.
Hare Krishna Mataji, still I do agree. The thing is to accept the other man's success this is not so easy. So for that we have to go to hear the Bhagavatam classes only. Then after perfection in spiritual knowledge, then we will be able to success in material world also. This is my opinion, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So you see here, in this particular shloka, truly compassionate or trying to be a devotee, both these aspects we have to cultivate, or it has to actually come inherently. I mean, swabhavika. It has to be. Otherwise, at least we have to try to be neutral, if not otherwise. So this is what, and then, so how does this aspect come? Maharaj happened to meet one Buddhist monk. Then he also asked this Buddhist monk, how is it that one can be compassionate? So he says, why do we not see everybody so compassionate, or ourselves sometimes compassionate? So even the Buddhist monk had to say it is only because of ahankara, because of the false ego. So, so then further Maharaj was saying, how is it that we can deal with this aspect of false ego, ahankara? So then, and even, our Acharya Srila Prabhupada says, only by preaching. Because Krishna himself in the 18th chapter, in 68 and 69, Krishna says, there is nobody else more dear to me than the person who is talking about me, that is about Krishna, to others, he says. So Maharaj went on to explain what happens during preaching, he also touched upon the point that Prabhupada insisted that achar before prachar. That means we have to practice before we preach. So if we go in that aspect, by the time we say, now I'm saying so many things. If you ask me, I may not even be practicing 1% of anything. So is that I should be preaching or not preaching? So for that, in detail, Maharaj was explaining what happens is when we are preaching, right? For instance, practical example, this particular shloka, this lecture, in detail, I heard it twice, right? And then it was like, oh my God, every aspect that Maharaj was talking was like, it is so true. So it had an impact. It's not that I did not hear it earlier. It's not that I was reading it or learning it, but then it had a stronger impact. So you see, when preaching happens, it can be through book distribution, it can be through classes, it can be through whatever way, giving prasadam to somebody, in whatever way we are going to give Krishna consciousness to others, the first person benefited is oneself. Right? So, and then the preaching, of course, it is benefiting the others also. So what Maharaj was saying is, by this aspect of preaching, this aspect of change in the heart of the preacher happens. And then because of that, then when the preacher starts to inculcate those points, then it also touches the heart of the listener also. So this aspect of compassion is very strongly seen in our parampara, especially through Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada's Leelamrita, if we read, that age, no matter how many times we speak, how many times we hear from everybody, it is just not enough. What it means to truly be compassionate, truly feel for the distress of others. Srila Prabhupada showed it himself. When he started, not just when he started Krishna consciousness, much before that, when he went and then trying to distribute back to Godhead magazines alone and all these things. So this aspect of preaching in various ways. And then there was one conversation with Rameshwar Swami, Rameshwar Prabhu, who was a very great book distributor during Prabhupada times. And during a morning walk, Maharaj was sharing this, that Rameshwar Prabhu was walking with Srila Prabhupada and many devotees. And then Prabhupada quoted the shloka and then asked Rameshwar Prabhu, do you know this shloka? And then Rameshwar Prabhu said, no. And Srila Prabhupada immediately stopped. And Maharaj was saying the whole atmosphere was so tense. And then Prabhupada turns to Rameshwar and said, I am writing these books so that first the devotees read it and then distribute. Right? So it is very, very important for us to read Srila. We may hear classes, but unless, when we read Prabhupada's books, even if we hear so many lectures, even Prabhupada lectures, when we read Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada actually speaks to us. There's so many points. It's impossible to cover the points that Prabhupada himself has given in these various things in the purport. So many aspects Prabhupada has given. So how is it that we deal with this deep-rooted self-centeredness or the false ego? He says, Maharaj said, it's good bhajana or sadhana. What? And that starts with observed, attentive chanting. And why observed, attentive chanting? Like all of us who are doing 16 rounds, we can vouch for it. I mean, at least when we are chanting, I have to do this Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. I have a class today at 9:30. What I have to say? Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Oh, yesterday office, Hare Krishna. Hey, how can that devotee say like this? Yeah, Hare Krishna. Right? So who is the center there? It's not Krishna. I am the center there. Can be office, home. Me, aham ameti. It's myself or my extended self is the center there. So Maharaj says the first aspect is absorbed, attentive chanting. Make Krishna the center, not, not oneself. And then the next aspect is reading. And how does one, and what happens while reading? First of all, it is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is to read. Reading is first step. And then next is Bodha. Understand what is written there. Right? And the third step is Manana. Right? And the fourth step is practice. What happens in Manana? We contemplate on it and then allow it deeply to get into the heart. Most of us who have complaints, Mataji, I read everything, I forget. One thing I realized is we remember whatever we are doing manana on. If I read now, right? And then the whole day, my mind is on so many other things. It can be service, it can be material, it can be spiritual. But if my mind does not dwell on what I read, then how will I remember? I will remember what my mind dwells on only, right? So, when we preach, the Lord, these kind of subtleties, the finer points, the Lord implants in our heart, Maharaj says. And then any service that we are doing, any service, it can be any service. It can be arati, it can be preaching, it can be book distribution. If our dhyaya or our goal is not to please the Lord and the Acharya. See, these are very subtle things because this aspect of puja, love, pratishtha. Puja is people praise me. Love is what is it I am gaining. And pratishtha is, oh, everybody knows me. Very, very subtle this is, right? If our intention is not to please the Lord, but these three things, then Maharaj said, we will not even reach the threshold of Vaikuntha. Because there is only compassion, yes, compassion to oneself, and then, it is not true devotional service. And so, yeah, it is a long drawn process, right? Because anarthas, and then we are stuck in this material world, and then you encounter so many beings about, in various modes, our own mind and body pulls us in various ways. So that, we don't get to that aspect of true bhakti. So how is it practically that we can do? So three things Maharaj said. One is we should have nama ruchi, right? And next is jivadaya. And the third is Vaishnava Seva. So what happens, especially in Vaishnava Seva is, see, if we have to do Seva, one has to be very humble, right? Humility aspect will come because if we have to do any kind of service to anybody, especially in the present kind of scenario, people, everybody thinks everybody is a master, in the outside world, right? So one has to be humble, and then one has to also be tolerant, right? Because I remember recently, some few months back, I had this opportunity to serve Her Grace Devaki Mataji, who had come to our temple. It was kind of first time experience trying to serve a very senior Vaishnava. She's Mataji is a Prabhupada disciple. Then I really, this first day I went, she said, I did something, and then she was a little jumpy about it. And she said, it's not going to be easy. Doing Vaishnava Seva is not easy. And then that 1 week, really learned what it is actually to do Vaishnava Seva, right? So that is humbling in one sense, and then actually we learn, oh, okay, this is how it is going to be in the spiritual world, right? And then this aspect of tolerance, right? Only if we are tolerant. His Holiness Bhakti Pracharak Maharaj, recently when he came, he was saying, get used to being with people, with devotees rather, with Vaishnavas, with devotees. Krishna is always with his 9 lakh cows and their calves and the gopas and the million gopis. And if you think you will go to the spiritual planet without tolerating or without adjusting with devotees here, he said, forget it. Krishna is always with so many, people around him. That was a very powerful point. Like, we have to learn to tolerate or, adjust, cooperate with devotees. And then tolerant means what? Be friendly to devotees, be merciful to the ignorant, and be indifferent to people who offend, and love to Godhead. That's what Maharaj said. So these were a few points that I could gather for this particular purport, where Prabhupada, talks in the purport, says there's no philanthropic work within this material world but Krishna consciousness that can engage a person 24 hours a day, right? So if we are really serious about Krishna consciousness, then introspection is what is the way forward, at least for myself. I leave the thoughts for you people to think about it. So we will go to the last shloka. We have Sharmila Mataji and Sarika Mataji for shloka and translation. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shanta samadrisha shuddhaha sarvabhutanurranjanaha yanti anjasa achyuta padam achyuta priya bandavaha. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Persons who are peaceful, equipoised, cleansed and purified, and who know the art of pleasing all other living entities, keep friendship only with devotees of the Lord. They alone can very easily achieve the perfection of going back home, back to Godhead. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So now this is
Hare
the icing on the cake, giving us the eligibility or the criteria to enter Vaikuntha planet. The Shanta, peaceful here, is also translated not just peaceful, to accept things as it is. Like, it is not just Bhagavad Gita as it is, but life as it is. Very difficult it is to accept life as it is, right? Yeah, the mind always has some counter thing to say for everything, right? So if one has to be peaceful, one has to stop fighting against the situation that we encounter. First criteria, right? And how can one be peaceful, right? Absolutely no material demand. This episode of Dhruva Maharaj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard it many times from Gadadhar Pandit. Time and again, after he finished, he says, read it again. So Acharya says, why this aspect of Dhruva Maharaj episode is important for us devotees. The first aspect is fewer aspects I'm going to touch upon. Like the mother was the Pata Pradashak Guru. Like we also, when we come to Krishna consciousness, somebody gives us the direction. So from there, he got the Diksha Guru as Narada Muni, and he followed Narada Muni's instructions to the T. Says, do chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, and he saw the Lord. Now comes the important aspect. Now, he has seen the Lord, but then what happens after he comes back? He starts killing yakshas because his brother was killed by yaksha, thinking that, the yaksha killed, and so he's killing. So you see, the acharyas are explaining that it is not enough to just see the Lord. All the anarthas, all the unwanted, all the desires that are there also should go away from the heart. So even after Diksha, initiation, it is only initiated, I have to go forward from there. Initiation, most of us think it is the end of it. No, it is the beginning of it. Right? It is the start of it. So even after forget just after initiation, even after seeing the Lord, Dhruva was in this kind of mentality that he has to kill yakshas because his brother was killed by an yaksha. So then what happens? As Shiksha Guru Swayambhu Manu comes, and then he gives him this knowledge that nobody can kill anybody, etc. In detail, I think that chapter so this Shiksha Gurus are, because the Diksha Guru is not always available to all the devotees because of their schedule, because of their traveling and other things, preaching and whatever their assignment. So people who give us Shiksha, who help us progress in spiritual path are also equally important. So this is another aspect why Dhruva Maharaj episode. Because all these, is very practical for us sadhakas. All this we encounter in the process of bhakti, whether we have taken initiation or we want to take initiation or we have taken initiation for a long time, etc. All these we encounter in different degrees, in different ways we encounter. So that is one reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to listen to this episode again and again. And how, even if you go to the Lord with a material desire, how the Lord purifies the devotee. That so much so that Dhruva Maharaj said, no, I don't want anything, I just want bhakti. Right? That is also another important point. So in the purport, Prabhupada talks about the uniqueness of devotees as compared to the karmis, jnanis and yogis. Karmis are, of course, into papa and punya. Jnanis and yogis, though they are on the higher platform than karmis, but then they are more interested in their own self-realization or their own aspect of going back to God, right? So two aspects of uniqueness Prabhupada says about devotees. One is, of course, the compassionate nature. And the second is they're completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Okay? Mercy of the Lord. And that is how they can be shantaha or peaceful. Because if we depend on our own thoughts or on our perception of the material world, then we can never be peaceful. Because our experience is limited, maybe limited to a week, a month, or few years in our lives, okay? As compared to Krishna's, where it is lifetimes of everybody, not just oneself. Whoever we are interacting with, the Lord has to balance out the karma of everybody that we are interacting with every day on every aspect. So it is that much more peaceful that that the Lord knows best. And then also the shloka talks about samadarshi, equipoised. So what does it mean to be equipoised? That irrespective of the person that we see, we encounter, we see that is a part and parcel of Krishna, and that soul is that in whatever body is going through sarva bhuta, all living entities, not just human beings, all living entities, is a part and parcel of Krishna. And eventually, post their karmic reactions, they are going to come to bhakti. This is what a Samadarshi means. Another important quality to go back to Godhead. And then how is all this? And of course, pleasing and Shuddha, completely purified. This Maharaj was explaining. If we have had a desire, say now all of us have come in different times, I mean, in our age to Krishna consciousness, we've had a material desire. But then we realized we should not have any more material desires. And then kind of, try to purify ourselves, or tried at least our best not to. But then Maharaj is saying, Krishna will never forget. Even if we have had a material desire, and so he will give another, how will he, even if we forget, Krishna will give a body so that we fulfill that material desire. And then, of course, go back. And that is what happened to Dhruva Maharaj. 36,000 years he ruled before he went back to Vaikuntha planet. So you see how, what a thin thread, what a knife edge we are traversing on a bhakti path, right? So, and then he very strongly said, even if you forget, say, no, I don't need, but then Krishna is Paramatma will. So, and then also he further went to say, if about purification, right? Either we voluntarily purify ourselves, right? Listening to this thing, lectures, and reading the Shastras and trying to understand what it is to purify ourselves. Or else Krishna will create situations to purify our heart. So we can choose which we want, which, obviously, those situations may not be conducive as per our material chakshu, as per our material vision. But you must, I was reading Chitraketu Maharaj, right? Chitraketu Maharaj, when Parvati curses, the first thing Chitraketu Maharaj says, it's like literally, if you read that shloka in Bhagavatam, he's holding his hand like this, he's saying, I'm accepting your curse, mother, like, that's what I felt. I'm accepting your curse. And then further, he says, though I know, actually, unlike Daksha, Chitraketu Maharaj is not offensive to Lord Shiva. Actually, he glorifies there Lord Shiva, right? And says, such an exalted person like you, who has to be Yadya Dacharati Shreshtas, people will follow you. How can you sit in a sabha like this in exalted sages with Mother Parvati on your lap? Was his question. I mean, like, that is how he said it loud. So he's actually glorifying Lord Shiva there. He was never offensive. But Mother Parvati, and then Lord Shiva, being an exalted devotee, he understood Chitraketu Maharaj's intention, what was, and then that also Chitraketu Maharaj never offended him. So, Maharaj, he comes down from the Vimana and then he says, Mother Parvati, I accept. And also he says, although I never offended, never any of my words were offensive to Lord Shiva, if you think it was offensive, kindly forgive me. And there in one of the purport, Prabhupada says, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakurpad said, that Chitraketu Maharaj was given this curse, was cursed to become a demon, so that he goes back to Godhead at the earliest. So, this aspect of why I'm discussing this is this aspect of when we go through reversal in lives, right? We think, why is Krishna so not merciful to me, right? But if we read Bhagavatam, if we read the exalted personalities in Bhagavatam, we understand actually they are the boons for any practicing devotee or any devotee to purify ourselves quicker and go back to Godhead. Right? Everything we will receive like this, whether it's a boon or a bane or a curse or offensive or whatever it is. We'll just accept things as it is. And this aspect is what will take us back to Godhead. In the sense, because there is nothing, no situation is created without the Lord being aware of it. If he is aware of it, if the situation has happened, that means there is a strong reason for it. So it can be a plus or a minus. Either way, our mindset should be to take it as a blessing from the Lord for the Lord, so that we get that much more closer to the Lord, right? So if we, several shlokas, even in Bhagavad Gita, if you see 15.5, what does Krishna say? Nirmana moha jita sangadosha adhyatma nitya vinivitya kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha samagne gacchanti apmuda padam avyayam tat. This is the passport that in 15.5 Krishna says, translation by Prabhupada, those who are free, kindly listen, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain the eternal kingdom. So time and again, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, time and again Krishna is repeating this, right? So we read through these shlokas. Now we have to grow through these shlokas. How am I going to inculcate this in my bhakti path? And how am I going to improve myself on this? Right? So all that is possible only when, Achyutapriya, with the devotees of Lord. So when we are with devotees of Lord, this aspect of purification happens quicker. Then this last example, I would like to close today's few words that I wanted to say. Gaur Gopal Das gave this beautiful example. Porcupines, though they have these spines, they all stick to each other. Of course, they are pricking each other also, right? One particular porcupine thought, hey, this is too much. Let me go away and stay. It is pricking too much, and when winter came, it could not bear the cold. And then it came back. So he gave this example saying, within devotees or among, it can be with devotees, with family members, with relatives, with colleagues, right? The pricking is there. But then if we learn the art of tolerance, because anyway it is temporary. Whatever it is temporary with anybody, with family, friends, this thing. And it is because it is only on the bodily concept, right? That pricking, whatever. But if we stay together, that warmth of, especially with devotees, of course, with devotees, the warmth of bhakti is what is going to take us back, Achyuta Priyam, with the devotees. So association of devotees, but in the association of devotees, if we don't endeavor to really purify our heart, right, we may, in the words of Maharajas, Sachidanand Maharaj said, His Holiness Sachidanand Maharaj, that we may not even reach the threshold of Vaikuntha. So with these few words, I would really thank from Achintya Prabhu, right up from Achintya Prabhu to all of you, to give me this opportunity, because there are a lot of learnings in these 2 days, trying to learn a few things to say. In the process of trying to say something to all of you, at least I learned more. Thanking you all very much for tolerating me also, and giving me opportunity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful session. So many things we learned today, which have to be imbibed and practiced in our day-to-day life. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very wonderful session. Mataji, I could see Suma Mataji have some question.
Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam Mataji, happy Mataji. I saw all the pictures of Vrindavan.
Yeah.
And I wished if I was also there. Mataji, though we do introspection, it is very difficult, Mataji, to get a guidance like this, Mataji. Whether we are introspecting and the outcome of that, whether it is right or wrong. So just by your guidance, Mataji, I am very much benefited.
All glories to Prabhupada. I'm guiding only from Prabhupada's books. So if you get to read Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada will speak to you. Just repeating. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Mataji, when you said that, Mataji, we all should have an equal vision towards everybody. Only then we can at least reach to the about go back Godhead, Mataji. So you said that, Mataji, I just thought that, Mataji, for that to have that kind of a vision, we are called as the Uttamadhikaris. Otherwise, we are all in the Madhyama stage. Like the qualities are like we keep some people materialist based on our judgment at a level, Mataji. So not to disturb our bhakti. So in that case, Mataji, how can we, Mataji? We do
That's
not have.
what I repeated Maharaj words, na? You be friendly to devotees, merciful to the ignorant, and indifferent to offensive people. I mean, because they are ignorant, they are offensive. So maybe even we were offensive somebody to some Vaishnava when we were ignorant, and they still tolerated us, and then Krishna tolerated us and still is allowing us to chant his name. Not that that offensive mentality is difficult to go. On the mental aspect, it can happen when we are with devotees. Actually, it's a very dangerous path also, because physically we may not do, but on the mental, how come? Yeah, he's getting that position, he's getting that service. Skanda Purana, I think, he said, when you see a devotee, you don't smile, it is offensive. You see. So, and that aspect of trying to see everybody as the part and parcel of the Lord, even that aspect. Yeah, it's a process, it's a process. But Prabhupada says, in a moment you can become Krishna conscious, you just surrender also. So the sooner we imbibe this, right? Because no matter how many gulab jamuns I give you, I can keep giving you gulab jamuns, but unless you eat it, you will not experience it. So after one point of time, that surgery we have to do on ourselves. And that surgery is without anesthesia. This surgery is without anesthesia. So it is going to be extremely painful to my false ego. But I have to do it. If I do it, then only I'm going to go back to God. Okay?
Thank you so much, Mataji. I just want to say this, Mataji, the takeaway point for today's class, Mataji. Just by taking Diksha, wherein you said, Mataji, just even after seeing the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj went through so much, Mataji. So just by taking Diksha, we can't even sit. I mean, yeah, I have taken Diksha, so we can't do it. Now I have I can go back to God. It is our sole responsibility. And thank you so much, Mataji, for this learning. I'm very much grateful to you. Hare Krishna. Dandat pranams.
Yes, Shobha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Mataji, thank you so much for this session, because we know many of these things, like we should not have material desires and we should accept the life as it is. But then again, with time, we forget these things and need some devotee again to recall, make us remember all these facts. So much thank you, Mataji, for this. And one thing, Mataji, that you said Labh, Puja and Pratishtha, exactly what they are, you were telling, like when I'm gaining something or not is Labh, you said. Other two,
You
Mataji.
see, with a lot of us, because of our conditioned nature, we bring that into our bhakti also. I'm doing this, I've donated so that my name will be put there, my name will be announced. I have sponsored for Rajbhog today. I mean, I'm giving you one example. That is Labh. That aspect of what do I gain out of it? If you, now any investors, they talk, what is the return on investment? There it is money, here it is emotions, here it is bhakti. So that aspect should not be there. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma. Anya Abhilashita, no Abhilasha at all. Right? That is love. Puja is, oh, such a great devotee you are. So many years, puja. People are lava, right? One second, Sumamataji. Okay, that is puja. Pratishta is, yeah, famous. It's difficult, if you listen to any of the persons who encountered with Srila Prabhupada in those 12 years, 65 to 77, there were many people, many businessmen who are not even devotees said, in past 2 years, I've not seen a single change in this person, right? Because he literally from zero to, he came to millions of dollars, Prabhupada, right? That did not change his bhakti. So he did not, and every time somebody glorified him, he said, oh, it is because of my Guru Maharaj and because of all you devotees, because you are helping me execute my Guru Maharaj's instruction. He never took credit, not even once. There's not a single person among the thousands and thousands of people whom he met in devotees. Not a single person said he was proud. He was, looking for fame or any this thing. He never ever forgot that it is only because of the mercy of Guru and Krishna. See? So, because we forget when we in bhakti also, we reach some stage, say, so nice, I'm doing nice chanting. That's why I'm getting all this. I mean, it is a conditioned state which we have to keep hammering. You know that there's this children's game, that frog keeps popping up and then you hit it with a hammer. Do you know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So keep that hammer of Hare Krishna. Keep hammering. Nothing, you are nothing. Some practical aspects to keep us going. Okay. Thank you. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
actually, then again, does it come in love when we think that I'm doing chanting, I'm hearing, I'm reading, but still I cannot control my anger or greed, all these things. So envy, which is the most prominent thing. So I think, does it also come into love, or I should just leave it that time with time these things will go?
See, ultimately, if you, Prabhupada said, especially about greed, envy and all that, no, Krishna has to take that call to take away. See, if you come down to the basics now, I am speaking now, right? I am speaking now, right? And then if we read Bhagavatam, then it says there's one Devata who's responsible for my speech. If I have to move my fingers, if I have to move my head, if I have to blink my eyes, everything is controlled by a Devata. And that Devata is controlled by Krishna. At this juncture, this moment, if Krishna decides, I should not be heard, finish. I may be speaking, you may not even be hearing. So if you understand this, everything, that aspect, not a single blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction. If we really always imbibe this in our head, then this aspect of doing anything will not come into our head. How? At this moment, so we have seen videos, people are giving some speech and suddenly you see them dead. Haven't we? And there were some videos which were circulating some time back. I mean, not among devotees. Somebody is giving a speech and suddenly you see them down there. The next moment they are dead. So Krishna, I mean, he's not that he's unmerciful or uncompassionate. No. That is the most difficult aspect for us to imbibe, that we are not the controllers. Anything, speaking, breathing, sleeping, waking, talking, listening. At this moment, if you are hearing and then for some reason that Devata decides you should not hear, then it is done, gone. So we are not the controllers. If we remember this, to that extent, we can try to keep ourselves humble. Meditate on that morning, as soon as we wake up and when we sleep. I am not the controller. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, very right, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for this class. Lot of doubts, lot of things without even asking, they were cleared. Thank you, Mataji, for this.
Yeah, Suma Mataji, I hope that was answered. Okay. Yeah, thank you, devotees.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We'll end the session with the prayers.
Decide
Anjali.
from Mataji is a labha.
Decide?
Progress in bhakti is it a labha, Mataji?
No, that's the
No.
only thing. Yeah, you can be greedy for that.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गुरुदेव
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna devotees,
Thank you,
thank you all
Mataji.
very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'll end the session, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.